Guys, it's Dayon. Welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today I'm going to be taking you on a journey. In the past, when I've had friends or like acquaintances get into K-pop, I always by default recommend Stray Kids, obviously. Sometimes this would lead to me giving them an education on the group. I thought, why not take everyone on a journey and do like a deep dive into the history of Stray Kids from pre-debut all the way through to now. This video can be for new stays or for people that maybe don't know who Stray Kids are and are curious to know, or even just for stays that are maybe wanting to take a little trip down memory lane. I have all of my notes and it's long. It's crazy the success that they have, and obviously we're going to get to that, so stay tuned. Before we get into it, I have a couple of disclaimers. There's going to be things that I forget, there's going to be things that I may get wrong, and obviously feel free to correct me in the comments. I just want people to know that this is like just for entertainment purposes only. I genuinely have so much love for Stray Kids, and for someone that has followed them since the Survival show, I am just super excited to make this video. We're obviously gonna get to it when we go through their journey, but I will be speaking about someone that left the group, and I want to reiterate, Stray Kids is 8. I do think that this is something that needs to be mentioned because there is still content, like whether that be video content or audio content like music, that still exists where there are 9 members. I think that everything that 8 Stray Kids members have been through have led them to the point they're at now, and they wouldn't be where they are now if they didn't go through those certain struggles and use those struggles to come out stronger as a team. The way I like to view it is it's a couple of tiny little chapters in the book of their journey, and you can't really skip a chapter because you need to know the full story, right? Let's move on to the fun part. Stray Kids is an 8-member group under JYP Entertainment. They are a fully producing group. It's also quite important to note that the leader of the group, Bang Chan, he individually picked all of the members of Stray Kids himself, which I think is pretty cool. We are starting in age order. First of all, we have Bang Chan, which is his stage name, but he also goes by Chris or just Chan. His birth name is Bang Christopher Chan. He is the leader of Stray Kids. He's also a member of 3 Racha, which is the producing group and the rap line. He is a rapper, a dancer, a singer as well. His producer name is CB97. He was born in Seoul in South Korea on the 3rd of October 1997, which makes him a Libra. He moved to Sydney in Australia at a very young age, and he was raised there up until he moved to Korea to become a trainee. He passed the JYP auditions in 2010, and then he moved to Korea in 2011 at age 13 to become a trainee, and he was the first out of all of the members to join the company. I cannot imagine moving to a different country at such a young age, leaving my entire life behind and giving up my teenage years to chase my dreams. I think it is so admirable, and I have so much respect for him. So next we have Lino. Stage name is Lino, but his full name is Lee Minho. Mino. So he's the lead dancer of Stray Kids and is in the dance line. He's a rapper and a singer as well. He's choreographed routines for the group, and he sometimes writes music for the group as well. He was born in Gimpo, South Korea on October 25th, 1998, and he's also a Scorpio. So prior to the Survival show and entering JYP as a trainee, he was part of 2 dance crews, and he was also a backup dancer for BTS on their Wings tour in early 2017. He actually auditioned for JYP in 2015, but he never heard back from the company. And then they contacted him in mid-2017, which is when he joined the company, and he was actually the last member of Stray Kids to join. Moving on, we've got Changbin. His full name is So Changbin. He is a member of 3 Racha as well, and he's an amazing rapper. He's also a really good singer. He doesn't sing as much as he should, but he is a really good singer as well, and he dances too. His producer tag tag is Spear B, and he's obviously a producer and a lyricist as well. He was born in Yongin, South Korea on August 11, 1999, making him a Leo. So Changbin joined JYP in 2016, and once he did join the company, 3RACHA was formed with himself, Chris, and Han. He's also produced songs for other groups as well, like ITZY. The song that he has with ITZY is really good. And he's also created songs for Samsung, in which he was an ambassador for. We'll also get to ambassadorships later. Moving on to Hyunjin. Hwang Hyunjin was born on March the 20th in 2000, and it makes him a Pisces. He's part of the dance line, so he's a dancer, he's also a rapper and a singer, and he too has also choreographed for Stray Kids as well. He's also assisted in composing songs and writing lyrics as well. So Hyunjin was actually scouted for JYP Entertainment when he was out shopping with his mother in 2016. He actually joined the company having no known skills. Now, I put in bunny ears because he trained himself, right, for 2 years, not knowing anything. But I just think he was one of those people that it was his destiny. Like, he was born to be in the career that he's in. Some people just have star quality. I'm just saying, I think he was meant for this role. Moving on to Han, who, if you couldn't tell from the background, is my bias. So Han Ji-sung, whose stage name is Han, was born on September 14th in 2000, which makes him a Virgo. He's also part of 3RACHA, and his producer tag is J1. In my opinion, I think Han is the definition of an ace. He is an incredible singer, an amazingly talented rapper, and he dances. He obviously also produces and writes lyrics for music as well. I just think he's an ace. So he actually lived in Malaysia for a period of time, and in 2015 he moved back to Korea to take his high school exams, and he basically made a deal with his parents where he said, hey, give me a year, I'm going to see how I go getting into like a company, and if I don't get anywhere, I'll move back to Malaysia to keep studying. So he then auditioned for JYP Entertainment and was accepted. Moving on to Felix. Lee Felix was born in Sydney in Australia on the 15th of September 2000. So he's also a Virgo, and he was born the day after Han, which is crazy. So Felix's Korean name is Yongbok. His full birth name is Lee Felix Yongbok. Felix is also part of the dance line. He's a rapper, he's a singer, and he also helps with composing songs as well. He's another one who was scouted in kind of a random way. Like, obviously Hyunjin was scouted on the street. Felix couldn't really be scouted on the street because he was living in Australia at the time. So he was actually scouted on Facebook, which, if you think about it, is actually crazy. He obviously received a message that was like, hey, do you want to audition for JYP? He auditioned with a freestyle dance and was accepted into the company. So he moved over to Korea in February of 2017. He actually moved over there having no knowledge of the Korean language. So he had to learn Korean whilst obviously training. And I couldn't even imagine going over at such a young age and learning another language whilst being a trainee, whilst going on a survival show. Props to him. Moving on to Sungmin. So Kim Sungmin was born on the 22nd of September 2000, which also makes him a Virgo. So there's 3 Virgos in the group. He is a part of the vocal line, and he has an absolutely incredible voice. He obviously also dances as well as being an amazingly talented vocalist. He also writes songs for the group too. He auditioned for JYP Entertainment in 2017 while he was still in high school. It was through an open audition, and he placed second, and then he joined the company just a couple of weeks after Felix did. Last but certainly not least, we have the final member of Stray Kids, who is the youngest member, Yang Jongin. Jongin's stage name is Ian. I will try my hardest to refer to him as Ian in this video. Sometimes I do call him Jongin. He was born in Busan in Korea on the 8th of February 2001, which makes him an Aquarius. He's part of the vocal line with Sungmin, and he has a really unique voice. I really like his voice. He auditioned for JYP Entertainment in 2016 when they went to Busan for auditions, and he actually got in on the second try and moved to Seoul to join JYP and become a trainee. So in order of who joined the company, it was Chris, Han, Jongin, Hyunjin, Changbin, Felix, Sungmin, and then Lino last. in my personal opinion, I think Stray Kids is one of the most versatile K-pop groups that I've come across. I would say they're all really solid dancers. They're all really solid singers. They can all rap as well. Some of them produce the music. All of them assist with writing the music. Some assist with choreography. They are very well-rounded. I think that also adds to one of the reasons why they have become so successful. However, there are units within Stray Kids, so let's do a quick recap of those units. Starting off with 3 Racha. I don't know if you can tell, but I am actually wearing a 3 Racha hoodie. Yep. So 3 Racha was formed in 2016 with Chris, Changbin, and Han. While they were still trainees, they formed this group together. They started writing, producing, and releasing what they referred to as mixtapes. If you haven't listened, I would highly recommend you go and do so. There are some bangers in there, and there are actually a lot of songs that were reworked, I guess, later on in Stray Kids' career to include all of the members in them. My personal favorite song of 3 Rachas is a song called Next to You. So 3 Racha was obviously a group that was formed pre-debut, but once Stray Kids debuted, they remained as a group and they were referred to as the producing unit or also the rap line as well. They've been in charge of composing, producing, and writing Stray Kids music ever since the beginning. So excluding the songs that they released pre-debut, they've got 2 unit songs called We Go, and they've got one called 3 Racha as well. They also featured in some songs as well, one of them being called Just Breathe and one being called Heyday, which is an absolute banger. Moving on to Dance Racha. So Dance Racha is the dance unit containing Lino, Hyunjin, and Felix. They've got 2 unit songs, which I have to say are 2 of my favorite Stray Kids songs, period. One of the songs is called Wow and the other one is called Taste. Ever since Taste was released, it has been on constant repeat in my household, in my brain. The Dance Racha performances, when it is just the 3 of them, are incredible. They all have such different dance and performance styles, but they work so well together. Moving on to Vocal Racha, they are obviously the vocal unit of the group, which consists of Sungmin and Ian. They've got 2 unit songs as well, one being called Can't Stop and the other one being called My Universe, which is featuring Changbin. I love My Universe so much. Ian and Sungmin's vocals go really well together, even though they are so different. That's another thing about Stray Kids, right? Like, everyone's so different, but they just work so perfectly well together. SKZOO is the name of the brand in which the Stray Kids members all have a cartoon representative animal. There is so much SKZOO merchandise. Genuinely, I cannot get into it because we would be here for like a year. SKZOOs first came to our screens on December 23rd, 2020 through a little bit of a teaser video. This little Han Quokka here in the black shirt was actually one that I pre-ordered in the very, very first pre-orders back in 2021. So that guy there is an ancient artifact. The members designed all of the characters themselves. So starting off, we have Wolf Chan, which is a wolf, and that is Bang Chan's representative animal. Then we have Leebit, who is a rabbit, and that is Lino's animal. We have Dweki, which is a hybrid between a pig and a rabbit, and that is Changbin's animal. We've got Ginny Rat, who is a ferret, and that is Hyunjin's animal. Han Quokka, who is a quokka, and that is Han's representative animal. We've got Bokari, who is a chicken, or a chick, if you will, and that is Felix's representative animal. We've got Puppy M, who clearly is a puppy and is Sungmin's animal. And then we also have Fox Innie, which is a fox, and that is Jonghyun's representative animal. Sorry, Ian's representative animal. Okay, that was the member, unit, and SKZOO recap. Now, let's move on to where it all began. Around July, August of 2017, there were rumors that JYP was due to release a new boy group, but through a survival show style TV series. On September 26th of the same year, Elevator, the teaser, was released, and that revealed the trainees to the world. The full music video was then released on the 6th of October 2017, which was in the lead up to the survival show. Over the course of October 11th, 12th, and 13th, JYP Entertainment released the individual pictures and the names of the trainees that were due to be on the show. The survival show was called Stray Kids. It started on October 17th and ran until December 19th, and it spanned over 10 episodes. I'm not going to go over every single part of the survival show, but if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend watching it. I think it really gives a great insight to how the group was formed, and also really shows some of the hardships that the members had to overcome in order to be able to debut. Something I will mention about the survival show is that Lena and Felix were actually eliminated during the show, and then they were brought back in the lead up to the end of the series. On the very last episode, which was like the, I guess, showcase, they had to create two different types of performances, one with all of the members and then one excluding Leno and Felix, and the fans were made to vote as to which performance they preferred, and if they preferred having the full team or if they preferred having Leno and Felix not be present, which obviously the vote won for it being all of the members, but it was said that JYP would make the final decision at the end of the episode as to how many members he chose to debut in the final group. All of the songs that Stray Kids created and performed on the show, they actually put all of those songs into an album and they released it in their pre-debut kind of time, and it was called Mixtape, which leads us to 2018. The mini album called Mixtape was released on January 4th in 2018. So this was obviously an album full of all the songs that they had performed on the series. It really hyped people up for the debut, which happened on the 25th of March 2018. They actually had a debut showcase called Unveil 1, I Am Not. And then the mini album was released, which was called I Am Not. And the title track for this one was called District 9. I Am Not actually sold 54,733 physical copies within the month of March. This kind of started a trilogy for their next two albums after this one. They were all kind of part of one series, which was called the I Am series. They did their first overseas performance in Japan for KCON, and that was on April 14th. Then skipping to August, on the 1st of August, the fandom name Stay was released. Then on August 5th, they had another showcase for their comeback. Their second mini album was released, which was called I Am Who, and the title track for this one was called My Pace, and it sold 79,684 copies in the month of August. Then on August 30th, Stray Kids won their very first award, which was the Rookie Award, and it was at the Soribada Best K-Music Awards. On October 21st, they had another showcase, which was for the album I Am You, and it had the title track of the same name. This is one of my top two title tracks. I absolutely love this song. I would say overall 2018, they had some pretty amazing achievements for a group that had only just debuted. I've got them listed, so here's a quick recap. They won 5 awards that year for the Rookie of the Year award at the Asian Artist Awards, the Next Leader award at the Fact Music Awards, Male Rookie award at the Genie Music Awards, Best New Male Artist at Mama Awards, and then the Soribada award that I mentioned before. Their total chart sales for the entire year was 338,053. I Am Not hit number 1 on the iTunes Worldwide Album Chart. Both Mixtape and I Am You reached number 2 on the Gaon album charts. They reached number 2 on the Billboard World Albums chart for Mixtape. They were number 7 on the Billboard Social chart, and they were number 18 on the Billboard Emerging Artists chart. To have that many achievements already was a testament, I think, to what was to come, which leads us to 2019. Starting on January 19th, Stray Kids embarked on their first showcase tour in which they traveled to 4 different continents. I will never forget the level of sadness I had that I wasn't able to go to their Australian shows. On March 7th, an official Japanese Twitter was launched for Stray Kids. If you don't know how this kind of works with Japanese and Korean within K-pop, some companies, not all companies, they have a Japanese agency, so it's like a separate entertainment company purely for their Japanese adventures. There's a different fan club that only Japanese residents can enter, Japanese albums, Japanese promotions, Japanese fan meetings, Japanese merchandise, like everything is different in Japan. That was why a Japanese Twitter was formed, kind of hinting that they were going to make a Japanese debut at some point. On their 1-year anniversary, so the 25th of March 2019, Stray Kids released their 4th mini album, which was called Clay One Mirror. This was also another trilogy that they had started. So they ended the I Am series and then they started the Clay series. I love Miro. It's so much fun. This album sold 103,021 units in the first month. And then on the 4th of April, Stray Kids actually had their first music show win, which was on M Countdown. And second part of the trilogy for that year was called Clay to Yellowwood. The title track was called Side Effects. This one was released on June 19th, 2019, and it sold 123,903 copies in the first month. Their showcase tour ended on September 27th. On October 9th, they released their very first digital single, which was called Double Knot, and that was like a pre-release for their next mini album that was due to release on November 25th, which was called Clay 3 Levanta. In this period of time, they also announced their first world tour, which was called District 9 Unlock. Up until this point, the group actually consisted of 9 members. If you are new to Stray Kids, you may notice that in all of those previous albums, there is a different voice that's in them. You may also notice that some of these songs have 2 different versions, and you may see in old content that at one point there was also 9 members in the group. On October 28th, JYP Entertainment released a statement informing Stays that the 9th member had made the decision to leave the group due to personal circumstances. I don't feel the need to mention the name of this person, as I personally don't support him. However, obviously I felt the need to mention this, as I do think that newer Stays may not know it. It was quite early on in their careers as well. This member choosing to leave right before an album was due to be released meant that Clay 3 Levanta was delayed until December to be completely re-edited. Stray Kids were also due to release a photo book at the time, which was called Stay in London. This was also delayed to be re-edited. If we think realistically about how taxing this must have been on the entire group and even on the company, having to re-record an entire album, refilm music videos, edit photo books, and I'm sure there was a lot more going on behind the scenes. I simply cannot imagine the level of stress that the members would have had to endure during this period of time, plus all of the speculation from netizens and the media, with some of them being so young as well. To me, it's actually insane that they were able to go through something like this. To this day, we still don't know what happened, and to be honest, we probably never will. We were just told it was due to personal circumstances, although it is so unfair that they had to experience what they did. I think they truly took that experience, whatever that experience may have been, and they overcame it as a team. Right, now that that's over, moving on the 7th of November, they featured on the soundtrack for an MBC drama called Extraordinary You, and they released their very first OST, which was called Never Ending Story. This was actually their first song as an 8-piece group. This is one of my favorite Stray Kids songs, not for the reason that it's their first song with 8 members. It is purely such a beautiful song. November 23rd was then the beginning of the District 9 Unlock tour starting in Seoul, and then on December 3rd, they held a showcase in Japan, which was called High Stay. They actually announced at this showcase that their Japanese debut was due to come in the following year. Then on December 9th, Clay 3 Levanta was finally released with the title track Levanta. This song alongside I Am You are my 2 favorite title tracks. I love Levanta so much. Clay 3 Levanta actually sold 182,300 copies in the first month. On December 26th, the digital single mixtape Gone Days was released, and this is a really cute track. I think it's very fitting because they're kind of saying gone are the days of things that are not good. 2019 obviously had a couple of little ups and downs, but overall Stray Kids actually had a really successful year. They won 12 awards, the Groove Award and the New Star Award at the Asia Artist Awards, New Artist of the Year at the Circle Chart Music Awards, Year Dance Performer at the Fact Music Awards, Best New Artist at the Golden Disc Awards, Rising Hot Star Award at the Sorry Butter Best K Music Awards, Global Artist Top 12 and Rookie Global Top 5 at the V Live Awards, Rookie of the Year at the Sumpi Awards, Korea First Brand Awards, and the Seoul Music Awards. Their total gown sales was 623,085. They hit the top of multiple charts. Get ready for the list. Global, #1 iTunes Worldwide Album for both Miro and Levanta, #2 Billboard World Digital song sales for Miro. Number 3, Billboard World Albums for Miro. Number 4, Billboard Social 50 chart. Number 5, Billboard Emerging Artists. Number 6, iTunes Worldwide Songs for Double Night. Number 90 for Billboard Artist 100. There's a lot. And then within Korea, number 1, Gaon Album Chart for Miro and Levanta. Number 37, Bugs Real Time for Levanta. Number 80, Sorry Butter Real Time for Levanta. Number 138, Genie Real Time for Neverending Story. And they also took away 2 music show wins with them that year. So seeing the increase on their chart topping, they doubled their gown sales for the year, and obviously the amount of awards really showed how much they improved within a year, but also how they were able to overcome something that had happened and still continue to succeed. And I tell you what, 2020 was really the year when everything changed. Starting off 2020 with an English single, Step Out of Clay, Stray Kids released English versions of Double Knot and Levanta on January 24th, which was just ahead of the North American leg of the District 9 Unlock tour. On February 16th, the District 9 Unlock tour was ended due to the COVID-19 outbreak. People that saw this tour, you have no idea how lucky you are. You must have saved someone in your past life, because the set list for this tour was unmatched, truly. The unit songs, Mixtape 4 was on there, which is a personal favorite of mine. I Am You, but it was like the emotional piano, oh my man. March 18th, we saw the official Japanese debut, which was an album called SKZ 2020. There was 3 Japanese versions of already existing Korean songs, but something that was incredible was alongside this, 24 re-recorded songs with only 8 members. This was unbelievable. The fact that they took the time to re-record the songs, I think it really shows their dedication to their art and also to their fans as well. This album sold 31,444 copies just in the first week. Moving on to the second anniversary, which was again March 25th. The song Mixtape On Track was released as a gift to fans. And then over the end of May and the beginning of June, Stray Kids released multilingual versions of their second OST, which was for the anime called Tower of God. And they had 2 songs, one called Top and one called Slump. And the Japanese single was even released as a physical album. On the 17th of June, Stray Kids had their first ever comeback as 8 members with the album Go Live and the title track God's Menu. This album sold 243,462 units in the first month. The effect that God's Menu had was genuinely unfathomable. It really gave the group a giant surge in popularity. I would say it completely redefined the group as 8 members and showed their synergy as a group through such a unique song. The concept was just epic, and it still goes hard to this day. On July 16th, 2020, their third OST was released for the drama Pop Out Boy, and the song was called Hello Stranger. Then moving on to September, on the 14th, Happy Birthday Han. The album was released again as a repackaged version, which was called In Life, and the title track for this one was called Backdoor. This one sold 331,143 copies in the first month. Their first Japanese mini album called All In, which was featuring the title track of the same name, was released on November 4th, and it sold 48,916 copies in the first week. Then, using Beyond Live, Stray Kids did an online concert on November 22nd, which was called Unlock Go Live in Life. Then on November 26th, a Korean version of All In was released as a gift to fans. I would say 2020, we saw an incredibly prominent growth in Stray Kids' popularity. They became the 4th most streamed K-pop act on Spotify. The Go Live album was certified platinum in August of 2020, and God's Menu was certified gold. Time actually ranked Backdoor 8th on the list of the 10 best songs of 2020, and it was the only song by a Korean act on the list. Total Gaon chart sales was 967,670, with approximately 1.17 million physical album sales worldwide. They had 2 music show wins. They won 5 awards: World Rookie of the Year at the Circle Music Chart Awards, Global Hottest Award at the Fact Music Awards, Best Korean Act at the MTV Europe Music Awards and Global Hot Trend Award at the Sorry Butter Best K Music Awards. 2020 really proved to be a rough time for everyone, with the COVID-19 outbreak taking a toll on all of our lives. Stray Kids never let this get to them. They proved to show their dedication to the fans and to their art by continuing to release amazing music and obviously keeping in touch with their fans as well. 2021 was obviously a year in which COVID was still extremely present, and to be completely honest, 2021 as a stage didn't even feel like a real year. Starting off February 20th, the members had their first fan meeting online, which was called SKZ, and a few days later was when the year took a turn that I don't think any of us expected. Accusations, and I repeat, nothing but accusations, were released alleging Hyunjin as a high school bully. This actually led to him releasing an apology on the group's Instagram account. On the 4th of March, the company announced that he would be going on hiatus. At the time, there was a lot of bullying allegations going against multiple idols, some even leaving their groups. And I think we were all so afraid. Didn't want Hyunjin to have to suffer. It just was a really bad time. On March 19th, 2021, we saw a collaboration with two different DJs, Alesso and Corsac. They released a song called Going Dumb, which was a collaboration of the original track from the soundtrack of PUBG Mobile. The members competed on a show which was called Kingdom Legendary War. If you haven't heard of it, it's basically a competition show in which multiple K-pop groups will compete against each other. There was a female version which was called Queendom, and then Kingdom was the male version. Stray Kids actually won this competition, and it was announced on June 3rd, and to be honest, it was a very bittersweet moment. Obviously, we were all so proud of them for winning, but it was really sad with Hyunjin not being able to be there. And they had some really great performances on Kingdom that would have been amazing for him to be a part of. Fortunately, he made his return to the group, and this was actually on June 26th. We first saw him in the music video for the track Mixtape O. The amount of relief that we all had was like words can't even describe. Anyway, moving on to a more happier note, on the 23rd of August, Stray Kids had their very first comeback after almost a year since In Life had been released. This was with the album called No Easy and the title track called Thunderous. This album was actually extremely special because it was both Stray Kids' and JYP Entertainment's first million seller album, which sold 1.127 million copies in the first month. The start, middle period of the year was actually really hard for Stray Kids and for Stays. So I think to see this outcome with their first comeback, it was incredible. I think it really solidified the love that Stray Kids and Stays had for each other. Then on October 13th, the release of Scars came out, which was Stray Kids' second Japanese single, and this one sold 119,963 copies in the first week. Fast forward to November 29th, we actually got the first kind of Christmas sort of style album, if you will. Christmas Evil, which was released as a holiday special single. It was a gift to fans. This was released with double title tracks, Christmas Evil and Winter Falls. Now, I personally am a Winter Falls enthusiast. Christmas Evil actually wasn't promoted at all, but it was the first Stray Kids song to win a music show win without any promotion, and it sold 654,658 copies in the first month. Ending off the year, Stray Kids actually released a digital compilation album, which was called SKZ or SKZ 2021, which, like SKZ 2020, was a bunch of re-recorded songs with only the 8 members. I think it was amazing that this was something that they did. As I said at the beginning, there are some songs that have multiple different versions, and that is the reason why, because they made the decision to re-record some songs. Although 2021 was quite a rough year for the first half, they actually proved to be a really united and strong unit. They'd won 8 awards. They won a main award or a Bonsang at the Seoul Music Awards, Worldwide Fans Choice Top 10 at the Mama Awards, Hot Trend Award at the Korea First Brand Awards, Best 3 New Artist at Japan Gold Disc Awards, Artist Award Male Group at the Hanto Music Music Awards, Best Performance Award at the Golden Disc Awards, Pop Performance of the Year at the Circle Chart Music Awards, and another Bonsang for Artist of the Year at the Fact Music Awards. They took 7 music show wins home this year. Christmas Evil went 3 times platinum. No Easy was certified million. The total sales in Korea was 1.7 million, and the global sales was over 2.8 million units. They sold more albums in 2021 than they did in 2018 to 2020 combined. The success they had in this year alone, regardless of any hardships they suffered along the way, once again proved that this was definitely just the beginning for them. The world slowly started to go back to normal at the start of 2022, with the COVID-19 outbreak kind of dying down a little bit. Stray Kids actually started off the year by holding an in-person fan meeting, which was called SKZ's Chocolate Factory, and this was on February 12th and 13th in Seoul. On the second day of the fan meeting, they announced they were having a comeback, and the album Ordinary and title track Maniac was due to be released. This album actually marked the first SKZ release to debut at number 2 on the Billboard 200, and it was their second million seller album, which sold 1.5 million copies within the first month. It was the first SKZ album to appear on the UK albums chart, with Maniac being the first song by them to appear on the UK singles chart as well. I think Ordinary is another really super unique album, and Maniac was an incredible song to promote as it really showed another diverse style that Stray Kids had. This then led to them embarking on their Maniac World Tour, which started in Seoul on April 29th, and this was their first official offline concert in 2 years. Then fast forwarding to June, we saw the release of their second Japanese mini album called Circus on the 22nd, and the title track was of the same name, and this album sold 131,921 copies within the first week. On August 1st, Stay's birthday, Stray Kids released the digital single mixtape Timeout as a celebration for the fandom's 4th anniversary, and then a 7th mini album was announced called Maxident. The members performed a showcase in Seoul on the 17th and 18th of September, which showed off some of the songs and performances before the album was released on October 7th, and the title track being Case 143. This album became Stray Kids' first million seller on day of release. Just think about that. Back in 2018-19, when I was saying some of those numbers, they were within the first month. This was within the first day. It was their first triple million seller, and it was their second album in a row to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200. The year then ended with Stray Kids releasing another compilation album, which was called SKZ Replay, and this contained songs that had only been released on YouTube via their SKZ Player and SKZ Records series. This album was originally just released as digital, but later on it was released as a physical version within the fan membership kit for the following year. This is the little beauty I am speaking of. The International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, or IFPI, ranked Stray Kids as the 7th best-selling artist of 2022. Maxident was actually the 6th best-selling album, and Ordinary was the 14th best-selling album of 2022. 2022 was also the year Stray Kids won their very first Daesung, and if you don't know what this is, it is called the Grand Prize in Korea. Basically, it's the most prestigious award you can get at one of the end-of-year music award shows. They won this Daesung for Album of the Year at the Asia Artist Awards. They also won Best Choice Award at the same ceremony, People's Choice Award at the Asian Pop Music Awards, World K-Pop Star at Circle Chart Music Awards, Artist of the Year Bonsang and Fan and Star 4 Award at the Fact Music Awards, Album Bonsang at Golden Disc Awards, Worldwide Fans Choice Top 10, Yogi Ball Chill Artist and Most Popular Group at the Mama Awards, and Artist of the Year at the Mnet Japan Fans Choice Awards. They took home a total of 8 music show wins. Their gallon sales were 4.29 million. Global sales were 5.84 million physical album copies. Once again, they were continuing to prove that they were still on the rise and that things definitely were not stopping for them. Wait until you hear some of the numbers we have coming. Starting off 2023, Stray Kids were continuing on their Maniac World Tour. On the 22nd of February, their first full-length Japanese studio album called The Sound was released with the title track of the same name. This album sold 377,551 units in the first week, which is a huge increase from their previous Japanese weekly sales. Then on April 2nd, the Maniac tour came to a close with the final encore date in Los Angeles. On June 2nd, it was the release of their third studio album, which was called 5 Star, and it had the title track called S-Class. When this album was announced, it actually broke the record for the most pre-ordered albums in K-pop history. It was also the first album to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200. And then in July, on the 1st and 2nd, they held a fan meeting called Pilot for 5 Star. Heading towards the end of July, on the 21st, they headlined the festival Lollapalooza Paris 2023. This was an incredibly big achievement for them, as this was their first time headlining a festival. Then on the 6th of August, the 5 Star Dome Tour began, going across Japan and then Korea. This one had some amazing solo songs that unfortunately have not ever been released, so would love to hear those at some point because they were iconic. On the 6th of September, Stray Kids released their first Japanese EP in collaboration with the singer Lisa, called Social Path, featuring Lisa / Super Bowl Japanese version. This one sold 506,212 copies in the first week. September also saw Stray Kids become Asia's ambassadors for the clothing brand Tommy Hilfiger, which is insane. The MTV Video Music Awards were held on September 12th, and Stray Kids attended this one as their first ever American awards show and received the first American award of their career with the category Best K-pop. Then on September 23rd, 3 Racha performed at the Global Citizens Festival in New York City. On the 5th of October, the announcement for their 8th mini album, Rockstar, was announced. A showcase for this one took place on the 21st and 22nd of October. On the 13th of October, Stray Kids were featured on a remix version of the song All My Life by Lil Durk and J. Cole. In November, we saw a collaboration announced with the Philippines dairy brand Ultra Milk. And then on November 11th, Stray Kids finally released the album Rockstar with the title track La 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 La. This album became the 4th album in a row to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200, and the title track was the first entry on the Billboard Hot 100. The album itself sold 4.12 million units in the first month. 2023 was full of nothing but insane achievements for Stray Kids, with 9 music show wins and 19 awards. I'm going to speed through this as fast as I can. Best Male Idol, 4th Generation Boy Group Award, the Bonsang, and the Best Artist Award, all at the K Global Heart Dream Awards. Global Artist Award Japan, Artist of the Year Bonsang, and Best Performance Daesang at the Hanto Music Awards. Album Bonsang, Album Daesang, Most Popular Artist, and TikTok Golden Disc Most Popular Artist at the Golden Disc Awards. Artist of the Year Bonsang, and the Fan and Star 4-Star Award at the Fact Music Awards. Song of the Year 4th Quarter at the Circle Chart Music Awards. Top K-pop Album at the Billboard Music Awards. Top 20 Songs of the Year, Top 20 Albums of the Year, and Best Group Overseas at the Asian Pop Music Awards. Best Creator Award for 3 Racha, Fabulous Award, and Stage of the Year Daesang at the Asia Artist Awards. IFPI named Stray Kids the 3rd best-selling artist of 2023, with 5 Star the 2nd and Rockstar the 9th best-selling albums globally in 2023. They were the first JYP artist to sell over 5 million copies of an album within 2 months of its release with 5 Star. 5 Star was also certified 5 times million and Rockstar 3 times million. Their gown sales were a total of a whopping 9,368,952 for the year, and their global unit sales came in at approximately over 9.5 million. 2022's album total sales were 5.84 million. This meant that Stray Kids had increased their sales by over 3.6 million. 2023 was clearly a gigantic year for Stray Kids. 2024. Stray Kids began the year with a collaboration between themselves and other JYP artists for Coca-Cola's limited K-Wave product campaign, and they released a song called Like Magic. Towards the end of March, on the 29th, 30th, and 31st, they held their fourth fan meeting in Korea, which was called SKZ's Magic School. And then this followed on to SKZ Toy World fan meeting in Japan, and this one happened throughout April. On the 6th of May, they broke yet another iconic record and became the first ever K-pop group to attend the Met Gala. What an achievement. On May the 10th, they released a digital single, which was called Lose My Breath, featuring Charlie Puth. And then on the 13th, a few remixes of this song were released. This caused quite a bit of discourse, as Charlie Puth is a very problematic artist. I'm not going to speak much on the issue because I personally do not support Charlie Puth. We will move on from that. July was actually an amazing month for Stray Kids because they headlined 2 European festivals back to back. iDays Milano 2024 on the 12th of July and BST Hyde Park 2024 on the 14th of July. I truly think this created a whole new era of stays during this time. Local people that did not know them were at these festivals and started to become fans of them after seeing their performances, and as they should. They were also due to have a comeback on July 19th. On the 18th of July, which was actually a day before the comeback was due to happen, it was actually announced that all of the members had renewed their contracts with JYP Entertainment. If there's anyone that doesn't really understand what this means, basically artists, whether it's a group or a solo artist, they will sign a contract with a company. In that contract, there is a period of time in which they obviously need to promote within that company. And then when that period of time comes to a close, they can either choose to leave the company or to remain with them. When they announced that they were staying with JYP Entertainment, I was definitely very relieved that I was still going to get some more time with them. The album 8 was released with the title track Chick Chick Boom. This was actually their 5th album in a row to debut at number 1 on the Billboard 200, and it debuted at number 1 on the Circle Chart's monthly and weekly album charts. It received 2 million certifications, and Billboard actually ranked number 19 on the 25 best K-pop albums of 2024. One of the coolest things about the Chick Chick Boom music video was that they featured Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, which was actually insane considering they are very famous mainstream actors. Stray Kids have actually had multiple interactions with Ryan Reynolds dating back to 2021 when they actually did a Deadpool-inspired performance on Kingdom. As the Deadpool and Wolverine movie was due to release in this time, Stray Kids actually released a single called Slash, which was featured in the movie soundtrack. They headlined Lollapalooza Chicago on the 2nd of August, and they performed to an estimated 110,000 people. Then at the end of August, on the 24th, the third world tour Dominate began, starting in Seoul. On October 7th, their 6th OST was released called Night, which was for the anime Tower of God workshop battle. Then the single Come Play for the show Arcane was released on October 16th. Then on November 13th, their second Japanese studio album called Giant was released with the title track of the same name. Heading into December, their first SKZ Hop hip tape called Hop was released on the 13th. This contained studio versions of the solo songs that they were currently performing on the Dominate tour, as well as the title track Walking on Water. In the first week of release, this album entered the Billboard 200 at number 1, making Stray Kids the first musical group to make their first 6 entries to top the chart since 1956, the most number 1s as a group since 2000, tying with a couple of other groups. And according to the Circle album chart, it sold 1,989,508 copies in the first week alone. It was certified gold by the Recording Industry Association of America, or RIAA, in March of 2025, which actually made Stray Kids the most RIAA certified gold albums by a Korean act in the country. Their total album sales for the year were over 5.2 million. They achieved significant album sales in Korea and Japan for their entire discography, actually surpassing over 30 million album shipments across both countries from their debut up until 2024. They achieved over 1 million album sales in the US. The album 8 was recognized as the best-selling K-pop album in the US for 2024. Hop was ranked 6th globally in pure album sales, and according to the IFPI, they were the 5th best-selling global artist. Although their total album sales for 2024 did decrease in comparison to 2023, I think the amount of success they had not just within Korea but globally proved that they continue to be a force to be reckoned with. They took home 8 music show wins, earning a triple crown for Chick Chick Boom on Show Champion. They won 20 awards for the year, so get ready for another speed run. 2024 Visionary at the Visionary Awards. Global Spotlight Award for Skiz Flicks at the Shorts Film Festival in Asia. Main Award Bonsang at the Seoul Music Awards. Group of the Year at the People's Choice Awards. Fans Choice Male at the Mama Awards. Best Song at the Korea Grand Music Awards. Best Singer at Korea Broadcasting Prizes. Best 5 Singles at the Japan Gold Disc Awards, K-pop Album of the Year at iHeartRadio Music Awards, Artist of the Year Bonsang and Best Performance Daesang at the Hanto Music Awards, K-pop Global Artist Award and the Album Bonsang at the Golden Disc Awards, Fan and Star 4-Star Award at the Fact Music Awards, Artist of the Year at the Circle Chart Music Awards, Top Global K-pop Artist at the Billboard Music Awards, and Best K-pop Record, Best Group, Album of the Year and the Grand Prize Daesang at the Asia Artist Awards. Wow. The Dominate Tour was due to continue in the following year, and I think once again Stray Kids proved to be a group that is on a steady incline to success. Personally, I would say that 2023 and 2024 really solidified them as one of the most successful 4th generation K-pop groups. This brings us to where we are now, 2025. And although we're still going into the year, we're only in August. Let's do a quick recap of what Stray Kids have done in this year so far. On February 14th, 15th, and 16th, the 5th fan meeting Skiz 5 O'Clock was held in Seoul. And then on the 21st of March, they released a digital single called Mixtape Dominate. This one contained a Korean version of the song Giant and 4 unit songs, which would then be performed on the Dominate World Tour. All of the 5 tracks on this mixtape album charted in the top 20 worldwide charts. Truman reaching number 6, Escape number 7, Cinema number 8, Burn and Tires number 9, and Giant Korean version reaching number 17. Now, they have spent the majority of the year on the tour. They've actually sold out stadiums across the world, and they attracted over 2.2 million people globally, spanning over 55 shows in 30 different regions, making the Dominate Tour the largest concert tour by a South Korean artist, which that's an incredible achievement. Moving into June, on the 18th, they released their 3rd Japanese mini album called Hollow and the title track of the same name. On the 30th of July, the Dominate Tour actually came to a close, with the final show being in Rome. And recently, they've announced their comeback, which will be for the album called Karma and is due to happen on the 22nd of August. 2025 so far has actually been a full-on year with the members touring. The Dominate Tour actually spanned for almost an entire year. They've actually already taken home 7 awards so far. The main award Bonsang at the Seoul Music Awards, Favorite Music Group at the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards, Music Video of the Year Asia and Best 3 Albums Asia at the Japan Gold Disc Awards, K-pop Album of the Year at the iHeartRadio Music Awards, Artist of the Year Bonsang at the Hanto Music Awards, and the Album Bonsang at the Gold Disc Awards. The increase of their popularity seems to be ever growing. As of recording this video, their total YouTube views across all videos sits at over 8.8 billion. Total Spotify streams over 11.3 billion, 19.8 million Spotify followers, and 10.9 million monthly listeners, 32 million Instagram followers, 31.1 million TikTok followers, 20.6 million YouTube subscribers, and 11.1 million followers on Twitter, or X if you call it that. I'm certain that I've definitely missed things whilst creating this video, as Stray Kids have honestly had so many achievements since their debut. I think it is absolutely incredible to see how far they've come, bearing in mind that all of the music they've released this entire time has been solely created by the members. I think it really proves how amazing they are as a team and their authenticity in what they do as well. I think their authenticity is something that so many of us love about them and why they are so successful. I have such an immense amount of pride to be a fan of theirs. We actually aren't done, so let's talk about ambassadorships. Obviously, I mentioned a couple of things like Tommy Hilfiger, but I'm just going to speed run you through everything that they've been either models or ambassadors for. Spanning over debut until now, they have been Jambenji models, Ivy Club models, Lotte Duty Free models, Pro Specs models, honorary ambassadors for the Korean Culture and Information Service, Clio models, Korea Trade Promotion Corporation Public Relations ambassadors, Pacific models and ambassadors, Maha Grid models and muses, Bench models and ambassadors, SLBS models, Tommy Hilfiger models and Asian ambassadors, and Ultra Milk models and ambassadors. Now for the members, Chan became a brand ambassador for Fendi, Lino is a global brand ambassador for Gucci, Changbin has campaigned for Samsung Korea, Hyunjin has been a global brand ambassador for Versace, an ambassador for Cartier, and a brand ambassador for Givenchy Beauty. Han doesn't have any ambassadorships or campaigns yet, but he has done pictorials for Balmain and NARS, so we've got hope. Hopefully maybe something with Dior. Felix is a house ambassador for Louis Vuitton. Seungmin is a brand ambassador for Burberry, and Ian is a brand ambassador for Bottega Veneta. I know I've probably said that wrong. And a global brand ambassador for Damiani. To be honest, some of these brands I don't even know how to pronounce, and I will probably never own anything from them because they are so bougie, and I think that speaks volumes as to how successful Stray Kids are. Now, the last kind of topic I wanted to talk about is a quick overview of the type of content that they release. Now, obviously, there is a lot of content to consume, and if you are watching this video and you've only just become a stay, you're probably super overwhelmed with how much content there is and catching up on all of the content since 2017. This is a brief explanation as to what they have. So obviously, there's music videos, there's dance practices, there are performance videos, there's street videos. It's just them out on the street with a camera, just them lip syncing to their songs and mucking around. They're so fun. Then we've got SKZ Code, which is their own version of reality show. They do like challenge episodes and skit episodes, and every episode is just random. I could not tell you the amount of times that I've watched the SKZ family. They've got SKZ Talker, which is also something that usually happens when they're on tour, and it's kind of like more vlog style. It's a little bit like behind the scenes, and each episode is kind of a different city that they're in and what they're kind of doing whilst they're in that city. Then they've got Two Kids Room, which there's multiple seasons of this. The first one actually starts back in the MyPace era, different pairings per episode, and they just talk about things like their hardships, stories from when they were trainees, stories from what's happening in their lives right now. There's also One Kids Room, which is a similar kind of concept, except it's just based around one member, and then the members will be interviewed about that member, or they'll just like talk about that member, and that's also really good. It gives you more insight to the members. There's SKZ Replay, which are songs that are released by members, but they're not in official albums aside from that one album that I spoke about before. There's also SKZ Player, which are performance videos and individual music videos as well. And then there's interviews and variety shows too. There is also Chan's Room, or Channy's Room. It was basically every single Sunday, Chris would do a live and he would like listen to music, he would talk to the fans, he would just kind of do like he would just chill. It was basically just a really fun time. It was really sad to see it end because I think we all got used to just spending every single Sunday with Chris. That's a brief explanation as to their content that they have. They've obviously got a lot more than that. If I could recommend you guys to watch anything, if you're a new stay, I would recommend to watch SKZ Code because it is super fun. And if you want to learn maybe a little bit more about the members, Two Kids Room is a really good one to watch as well. We've come to the end of the video. I hope that you maybe learned something you didn't know before. If not, I hope this was just a fun journey for you. I'm bringing my little Han Quokka friend in to say the goodbyes to everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a little thumbs up. He doesn't have a thumb, but just take with that what you will. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.